Hello and welcome to another episode of Observation Reactions. Now, for the first time, Observation Reactions with a friend. Greg, welcome to the show.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really wanted you to be here because, unlike us, all three of us have played the most recent Call of Duty game, Black Ops Cold War, but you have actually played most of the recent ones, isn't that right?
Yeah, I've played basically every one since around Black Ops 2 to some degree. The first one I really got into was Black Ops 3. And I've played basically all of them with the exception of Infinite Warfare.
That is fantastic because,
that's fair because that's the one that we don't talk about, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry for mentioning it.
Yeah, how dare you?
I'm sure it will be the last time. But yeah, so you can really offer up some insight that Reed and I can't offer up because I've played a couple Call of Duty games. I've owned the Modern Warfare 3, the first two Black Ops games, and Black Ops Cold War, but that's it. How about you, Reed? What's your history with Call of Duty?
So Cold War is the only one that I've actually owned for myself, and I've played on my own. I did play a bit of Black Ops 3, I believe. Kind of at like friends' houses. I remember doing some zombies. I remember my favorite map was always Transit.
Great
and
one.
I was ashamed to learn later on in life that is one of the least popular maps of all time.
I like it. I mean,
yeah, but
that's just me.
Yeah, people have started looking back at it a little bit more with those rose-tinted goggles. So it's
true.
been getting
that's
better reception now, but it's still considered near the top.
It's nostalgic, but
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Cold War is the only one I've actually owned.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say I think Cold War has been a resounding success. I'm quite a fan of it. I mean, you guys like it as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Definitely, of course.
How does it stack up to the previous ones? Because I don't know if anything can really top Black Ops 3.
I'll say that a lot of people have had mixed opinions between these last two CODs. They're almost at odds with each other, honestly. With a lot of people saying that Modern Warfare is a lot better, a lot of people saying that Black Ops Cold War is a lot better, and then some people just say, fuck it, and we go with Warzone. So you've got all that going on right now, which leads to a very odd point during the COD cycle, where normally you'd have all of these studios kind of working separately from each other, but for the first time, they're kind of like working together almost. So it's a lot. It's kind of like uncharted territory right now. But there have been some issues with weapon balance in Black Ops Cold War, but that's not foreign to COD. Every game has one gun that breaks it at some point during the cycle.
And now it's the Tech 9.
Yep. Currently at the Tech 9 point in the cycle, which should date this video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in comparison to previous CODs, I would say this one's definitely higher. It's obviously not reaching the peaks of like Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, or my personal favorite Black Ops 3, though that's obviously Dark Horse. But it's definitely one of the better CODs that I've played it. It's definitely top 3 for me.
Yeah, and to offer a little behind the scenes for the audience at home, the three of us and our other very good friend Emmanuel, who you saw in our E3 reaction video back in June, the four of us, we actually play Black Ops Cold War together quite frequently. So we do have that background as well. We have that personal stake in it because it's been just a great game that we've played together quite a lot in the past several months.
Indeed.
So. Now we come to, finally, the long-awaited reveal of this year's 2021's Call of Duty entry, Vanguard. And it's been rumored for some time that we would be going back to World War II. That seems to be the case. But we will see what they have to offer, because not only they're coming off a very strong previous installment, but this year they're also going up against Battlefield 2042, which is going to be huge. And we'll talk about that. But Yeah, a
You know,
lot
you say
riding on
Battlefield
this.
2042, but it's not just Battlefield 2042 they're going up against. They've got Halo to contend with as well.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
another
that is true.
juggernaut. Another juggernaut. So they're going to have to really make a strong
Yeah.
impression here. So
Another juggernaut with free multiplayer.
yeah, which is huge. That is absolutely huge. So
Well, I guess the
you know,
real debate is going to be between the free Halo multiplayer and Warzone.
yeah,
Well, those are two entirely separate types of games,
Yeah.
just because one's like core multiplayer versus a battle royale.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
very good point. Yeah. But without further ado, let's see what Call of Duty's putting up this year.
The whole world is burning. Sometimes, the only way to put out the flames is with more fire.
Interesting theory.
Yeah, it does not make any sense.
I mean, fight fire with fire.
I suppose, yeah.
Das ist mir scheißegal! Erschießen Sie den Läufer!
All right, lads, listen up. I won't trade you all for this.
Oh,
This is the theatre
that was a battlefield moment there.
There's no curtain call for bravery.
Bravery's what comes
much.
after, not what you were in the moment.
Target locked. Dropping bomb.
Whatever we do it together.
That man is dead.
My God.
Yeah,
Wow.
definitely dead.
But it makes for a cool visual.
Yeah.
Oh, and look at that! Comes out the exact same day as the
Oh my
Eternals.
god.
Wow.
we
What are the
literally
chances?
just did a video on that. That's hilarious.
Pre-order now and get early access to the open beta. Digital pre-orders get instant access to the Night Raid, Mastercraft, and Black Ops, Cold War, and Warzone.
Okay. Wow.
Ooh.
So we will go through this trailer scene by scene and just kind of make our notes as we go. But right off the bat, Greg, what do you think about this trailer? Did it make you excited for the game?
I'll be honest. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Obviously, a handful of years back, we had COD World War II, which I believe was also made by Sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And there were definitely a lot of mixed reactions to COD World War II. It kind of mixed a lot of stuff up. There were some weird elements to it that the franchise tried that didn't work out too well, but you know, they tried anyways.
Yeah.
But like obviously this at the moment it looks like it's a bit more of a refined look at like the different sectors of World War II. If you've played the Battlefield 1 campaign, you might remember how the campaign was sort of split into like 4 or 5 different stories.
Yes,
This
yeah.
kind of gives me that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
obviously this is just like a reveal trailer, so this is more focused on like campaign stuff, just kind of showing off the graphics, the
Yeah.
general locale.
Yeah.
So this isn't like any like in-depth gameplay. I mean, in total, we got maybe like 3 seconds of what could be considered gameplay in that. But it looks promising at the very least. I can tell you that much.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just to continue off what you were saying, this definitely looks good. You know, I will say that I am. I mean, of course, World War II was Call of Duty's bread and butter. You know, this is like, you know, slipping into a well-worn pair of shoes for COD. So I can't necessarily give it points for originality, but I am a sucker for a good World War II story. And just to say this, you know, over the past several weeks, I've been reading this book, and I can actually show it here. I've been reading this excellent biography of Winston Churchill by Andrew Roberts. Incredible single volume, in my opinion, the best single volume history of Churchill's life. So, you know, I guess I'm really primed for a World War II story right about now. And you know, but just in general, you know, I mean, anybody who knows me knows I love history, especially military history, World War II stuff. You know, I'm a big fan of that. So even though this isn't new for Call of Duty, it's definitely in the wheelhouse of stuff that I like. And I gotta say, this trailer, even though, as you said, it is just a reveal trailer, you know, it doesn't tell us really anything about gameplay. I think that they're going in the right direction with this. And I think that this is very well suited to the incredibly tough environment that's going to be coming out for video game sales later this year, having to fight off both Battlefield and Halo. You know, because whereas obviously Halo is a sci-fi thing and Battlefield is taking us into the future, going back to the past and exploring the biggest, you know, greatest conflict in human history, that's a selling point. That is something that can differentiate you in the marketplace. And of the other two big recent World War II FPSs that we've gotten in the last several years, Call of Duty, World War II, and Battlefield 5, this definitely is the one that's most likely to get me excited or want to buy. You know, Battlefield 5, of course, had a very kind of muddled and bizarre and underwhelming rollout. And Call of Duty World War II, it just didn't really, you know, it just seemed very safe, very typical. You know, my understanding of the story of that game was pretty much just Saving Private Ryan, but with more bombastic explosions and nonsense.
Yeah, pretty much.
But this, as you said, I'm really intrigued by how they spotlight each of the individual major theaters of war, from North Africa to the Pacific and everywhere in between. I think that's going to be fascinating. And all in all, I think it's very fitting because, of course, what Activision's been doing is they've been tying all of their past couple of games together with the common foundation of Warzone. You know, started with Modern Warfare, and then you added on Black Ops Cold War to that, and now this is going to be the World War II kind of third pillar of the you know, the Warzone trifecta. And I think it's fitting. I think it works, and I think this genuinely looks good, and it makes me more excited for Call of Duty in a year where I thought it was going to get blown out by Battlefield and blown out by Halo. So, you know, does it take precedence over those games? I'm not quite ready to say that yet.
We're gonna have to wait for the gameplay trailer to really figure that one out. But
exactly. But now it is competitive, which is a lot more than I thought I would be saying after Call of Duty 2021's reveal. So, how about you, Reed? What did you think?
So, right off the bat, I think, you know, just kind of building off where you just were, I think it's really important that they are kind of taking this historical perspective, whereas, you know, Halo's coming out and Battlefield is jumping into the future, because there's always that market for, you know, those kind of more historical first-person shooters, especially World War II. Like you said, it's Call of Duty's bread and butter. But one thing I really like about this is that, you know, it broke it up into several different factions, and it's not just Allied powers versus Axis powers. Because that seems to be the most common trope of games. Obviously, I have the least experience with Call of Duty, so I don't know if that's always the case, but to me, at least, that's what it feels like. So it'll be nice to get just more interesting, a little bit more niche stories.
Oh, also, I wanted to say right off the bat, Really cool name, Vanguard. I do like the name a lot. Definitely stands out.
It's been leaked for a while, but it's definitely a solid name as opposed to like Black Ops whatever or Modern Warfare whatever or
Yeah,
just like
Yeah,
World War
Call
II.
of Duty Black
It's
Ops
the most
Cold War is
creative.
such a mouthful.
It's the most
Vanguard
creative
is like
naming they've had since the first Black Ops and World at War.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I really like that. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, because the Vanguard project name has been leaked for so long, that they just said at this point, Vanguard's already out there. People don't seem to mind it, so let's just keep it. And honestly, I'm glad they did, because Vanguard is really cool sounding. So I'm definitely glad they went that way instead of going, Call of Duty World War II 2 or something, or I'm glad it's not a mouthful like Black Ops Cold War.
Out the flame.
Yeah,
This jumping
definitely a
attack.
little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
With more fun.
I mean, every COD campaign features at least some sort of like stealth section in it.
Yeah.
Chances are this could be it, where you're trying to like sort of traverse up the train and
Mhm.
ultimately like get to the front or back or whatever you're trying to get to.
Man, they used the
That's a possibility.
they
Mhm.
used the rooftop of a moving train fight for a stealth section. What a waste of potential.
Hey, Hitman's done it.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, because I know you'll get this reference, Greg. This also reminds me of the final mission of Hitman 3. This stealth train attack.
You've got to keep in mind most of these settings are likely going to be some like setting for a multiplayer map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through Charlie Intel earlier, which has like all of the different COD news. Obviously, it's more than just COD, but it primarily focuses on COD news. It's been talking about like different elements of Vanguard that are supposed to come out. Apparently, Vanguard is launching with 20 different maps.
Whoa.
Oh,
Out the gate.
that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's the most that a COD game will have at launch since Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009.
Wow. That is really good news. That is really good news.
So chances are just about any setting they show in this, save for maybe Up in the Air, it's probably going to be a multiplayer map.
Yeah. This is a really cool visual with the air raid.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of portions of this trailer that are kind of focused on like aerial combat.
Yeah, and I want to ask about that as well.
Will there
And-
be
and-
dog
and-
fights?
Yeah, we see more of this later on, but I mean, what do we think? Because there are a lot of scenes that feature either aerial bombardment, aerial combat. At the end of the trailer, that guy jumping out of the plane. Are we going to see some sort of aerial angle? Because Call of Duty is not known for that.
I'll be honest, I don't think they will. Call of Duty has never been known for any sort of its vehicle combat, even like ground vehicle combat.
Yeah.
I think it would be odd to shift to such a focus on aerial combat out of the blue.
Mhm.
I could see them going with like more ground-based gameplay, a la a Conquest Large in Battlefield, or just combined arms in Black Ops Cold War. But I can't really see them going for like a dogfight sort of game mode. I think that's kind of biting off a bit more than you could chew.
Well,
Yeah.
I imagine they wouldn't do an actual dogfight, but I'm wondering if it'll have, because most Call of Duty games just straight up haven't had vehicles at all, or at least not in multiplayer settings.
Yeah.
And they've started kind of introducing that. And I wonder if they're gonna if they're trying to make it feel a little bit more like Battlefield, because I remember Battlefield 4, there were a few maps where you could get in a jet and take off and like get into aerial fights that way, even though the majority of the fight was on the ground.
Yeah, same in Battlefield
Yeah.
1, where you did have an aerial component to it. Yeah, as you said, Greg, I would be very surprised if they leaned into the aerial side of things, but my two thoughts on it are, if you were going to pick a Call of Duty title to introduce any dimension of aerial combat, it would be a World War II title. And I think that there really is something strategically beneficial about, having maybe, or at least attempting something like that. Maybe not a full-on dogfight mode per se, but something that's more Battlefield-esque in terms of adding the aerial side of things to the greater Battlefield, because that's something that Battlefield has done for a long time and has done well, and that's one of their selling points. And in a year where Call of Duty is going head to head against a very highly anticipated Battlefield title, maybe that's kind of contributes to why Call of Duty is saying, maybe this is the year to try it out, and even if it's not that great, we'll still get credit for putting it in there. So I think that's something that I kind of think of. Do I think they'll really put a big emphasis on it, even if it is in there? No, but I think there's a distinct chance. And the fact that there's so many scenes with planes in this reveal trailer kind of makes me think that might be a part of it.
I'll be honest, I don't think it'll be multiplayer, but I would not be surprised if there are a handful of aerial combat scenes in the campaign.
Yeah, certainly in the campaign. I think there's gotta be, given how much we see of it in this trailer.
I just think that with how COD multiplayer is balanced, I think adding planes to that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, I have no idea how that would work.
I would hate dealing with sweats that also know how to fly a plane and drop bombs.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, that's kind of hard to visualize given the current Call of Duty meta. So, whew, but
let's continue.
So let's see. So in North Africa, so we've got the Germans, and that looks like that looks like the flag of Australia. So this could actually be perhaps the Battle of El Alamein or another battle in Egypt.
I wouldn't know enough about World War II to tell you.
Because Australian soldiers did feature prominently in those Egyptian battles early in the war.
Okay, so yeah, probably is the Germans and the Australians then.
Eastern Front, of course, we've got the Germans and the Soviets. That's a huge one.
That'll be fun coming off Cold War, where the Russians were the enemy, and now they're.
Yeah, and also it seems like this is going to be leaning into the stories of the female Soviet snipers, which I'm very glad about, because that's a genuinely fascinating story from history, and I think an undertold one about just how effective these women Soviet snipers were. I mean, kill counts amongst the highest in the war in terms of individuals. They were incredibly effective snipers and incredibly effective fighters, and really key in the defense of the Soviet motherland.
That also kind of links to the whole fight about like representation in multiplayer games, and that dumb argument about like historical accuracy, and that's why we shouldn't have like women avatars in these multiplayer games. And it's like, well, no, there were a lot of women like fighting on the front lines, and
that's the thing. And that's the thing, because, and not to get on a tangent about Battlefield 5, but a big criticism people had of Battlefield 5, and even though I never played it, this is a criticism that I definitely agree with, is that in the campaign, they went very far out of their way to invent certain stories to make them more inclusive. And in so doing, they neglected to tell the actual stories of, of real people, including the Soviet snipers, the female Soviet snipers, who were unbelievable badasses during the war, to invent and embellish other stories, which diminishes both cases.
Yeah.
For instance, there was one mission in Battlefield 5 where you're a young girl who is sneaking into a heavy water facility in Norway to blow it up, because that could be used, the Nazis could use that material to build an atomic bomb, which of course that historical event did happen, but there wasn't, it wasn't one young girl, it was, a team of commandos. So it's like, well, you're kind of disrespecting the actual story of what happened and the actual people who achieved that and blowing up that facility. And in telling that story, not telling telling different stories like the stories of the Soviet snipers, you're ignoring the real badass women of the war to invent, to alter and invent an entirely different scenario.
Yeah.
And it left everyone unsatisfied. So I'm glad that
you're ignoring the real women who fought in the war,
Yeah.
create stories about fake women who fought in the war to appease people who wanted to hear about women who fought in the war.
Exactly,
like-
and it didn't make a lot of sense, and it left a lot of people disappointed. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that in this game we'll actually get to see the true stories of some of the incredibly badass women of the war, because there were a lot of them. Gotta love the classic, Nazi commander barking orders.
Yeah.
That never gets old. The
Yeah,
Western Front, of
always.
course, British, Germans.
All right, lads, listen up. I won't trade you all for this.
Yeah,
Pacific.
that definitely looks like
Yeah.
it's out of a campaign.
Yeah, and I really
Yeah,
like this
gotta
as
be.
well. Yeah, you've got these aircraft carriers here. This is a really cool visual.
That's the only problem I have with this trailer. It's all set pieces.
Yeah.
It's like a set piece here or there is good, but without a little bit more gameplay to sort of intersperse in there. I understand it's not a gameplay trailer, but like considering we only get about 3 seconds of actual gameplay in here, if that, it's a little.
Yeah, they should have just referred to it as the cinematic trailer.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But I
Cinematic
have
trailer for the campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to say, again, this makes me wonder because, obviously, this looks like it could be maybe the Battle of Midway or Guadalcanal or even Iwo Jima, which of course were primarily naval battles and aerial battles. I'm wondering. I mean, of course, there were ground-based components, but this all again makes me wonder: is there going to be some naval or aerial dimension, at least to the campaign, if not multiplayer? Because this scene is definitely evocative more of that side of things.
This is the theatre of war, Arthur. There's no curtain call for bravery.
Bravery's what comes after, not what you were in the moment.
Of course, wouldn't be a World War II trailer without at least some trench warfare.
Yep.
That aircraft carrier just gets blown up. Yeah, I think this is the Battle of Midway. I think
Could be multiple battles too, so.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, this feels like it's going to be sort of a compartmentalized
Whatever we do.
sort of campaign with each front sort of serving as its own story.
Yeah, like you said, very reminiscent of like the Battlefield 1 campaign, where we just kind of moved from theater to theater and visited different people's stories instead of having it be one contiguous narrative, which I think is good. I think
I
that's
also wouldn't be surprised if they end up doing like maybe multiple stories on the Western Front, just because that's where
yeah,
a lot of shit happened, and you can vary it up just along the Western Front. So
yeah.
I would
and
say you're probably focusing on that one Australian character that's kind of focused on at the introduction of the North Africa portion. You're
Yeah.
probably that pilot in the Pacific theater. You're playing as the Russian sniper in the Eastern Front. And then the Western Front, you're probably going to vary. You're probably going to get that one character that's giving exposition at the start of the trailer,
yeah.
and then somebody else.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even though my understanding is that this is exactly what they did with World War II. I'm sure there'll be a D-Day scene, and stuff
more
like
than
that.
likely. I'd be surprised if they didn't go that route.
Yeah.
Whatever we do it together.
Definitely quite a battlefield moment here.
Yeah. Falling from the sky pretty much aimlessly. Two planes happen to crash into each other.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna like
One thing
jump
that's
back into a
one
plane.
thing
And
that's
was like,
worth
yeah, this is
noting
definitely
just right
Battlefield.
here. One thing that's worth noting just right here is if you look at the developers at the bottom of the screen, you've obviously got Sledgehammer featuring down in the bottom left, but if you look just to the right of the CallOfDuty.com advertisement, Treyarch's working on this as well.
Mhm. Which is very odd because, of course, Treyarch just did Black Ops Cold War. So
what they're doing, as far as I'm aware, based on what I've read, is that Treyarch is going to continue working on the Zombies Dark Ether storyline in COD Vanguard, with World War II essentially acting as a prelude to the events of Cold War.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Awesome.
So the Dark Ether story is just going to continue into Vanguard. I really like that.
Or
yeah, it's going to be sort of a prequel. But how I can assume this would happen is obviously we're going to have the conclusion of whatever the main portion of the Dark Ether storyline is in Cold War, likely coming within the next season or two. Then we're going to have the prequel series in Vanguard. Then chances are, whatever COD 2022 is, it's probably going to sort of finish off the story.
Gotcha.
Unless they want to take an Ether storyline approach to it and just say fuck it and keep continuing it no matter what the hell they do.
Right. Which, I mean, hey, that wouldn't be unprecedented. But yeah, I did not know that though. But I really like that. I like that. Well, just because we do a lot of zombies on Black Ops Cold War, and I like that we won't just abandon the Dark Ether story when that game's development cycle finishes. I'm glad that will continue. We could even see D Machina.
That kind of happened with the Chaos storyline. Yeah, that kind of happened with the Chaos storyline in Black Ops 4, where it just kind of got abandoned.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like going back to D Machina in its heyday, and seeing what that's about. I mean, I guess
It's doubtful that they put anything in the same sort of settings, but I like D Machina is pretty much just a straight up remake of Nacht der Untoten with a little bit more added around the main building of Nacht. So they likely wouldn't be going back to End Station again, but I could see them like sort of raiding Nazi bases across like each of the fronts, for example.
Yeah. But I gotta say, I really like that Treyarch is sticking around to do that because they're doing a great job with Black Ops Cold War.
My question
it's like hell. They could use one of the major battles as sort of like a diversion of sorts, sort of use it as a place setting for how they're going to have one of the maps set up. As an example, if you remember Origins, that basically takes place on a live battlefield.
Right, yeah.
You could do something like that with Vanguard.
That would be really cool. Like taking a World War II battlefield and converting it into a zombies map. That would be, or I should say, a famous World War II setting and converting it into the zombie storyline. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
My question is just whether Vanguard is also going to include the Outbreak version of zombies.
I don't know about that.
Maybe not at first, but I think Outbreak has been a big hit for Black Ops Cold War, so I would be surprised if we didn't get something like that eventually. That's just my guess, but I think that it's been so successful for Black Ops Cold War. I'd be surprised if they didn't bring back that formula in some way.
Yeah, I mean, if Treyarch is continuing to work on Vanguard as well, like they might just try to introduce the same game mode.
Yeah. So right off the bat, this is something interesting. Of course, the last time we saw Call of Duty go head-to-head, or I guess I shouldn't say the last time, the second to last time we saw Call of Duty and Battlefield go head-to-head, of course, that trailer got absolutely obliterated in the likes and dislikes. That does not seem to be the came here. It seems like, in
fairness, you're on the IGN page, not Call of Duty. But let me look up Call of Duty. I'll look it up, just report back on the dislike ratio.
At least on IGN, it seems like it's not getting
Yeah, no,
buried.
if it were getting nuked, it probably would be doing a lot worse. So
Yeah. And quite frankly, again, this is kind of the big thing that we wanted to
yeah,
talk about.
on the official Call of Duty page, you've got 92,000 likes to 8,000 dislikes. So
Oh, so that's really good. That's really good.
yeah.
So wow, yeah. So yeah, and then that kind of leads into the main thing that we wanted to talk about, which is, you know, of course, this Call of Duty had a big uphill battle this year, going up against Battlefield 2042, going up against Halo, and just a bunch of other high-profile releases in general. You've got Forza and a bunch of stuff. So, you know, coming off of this trailer, how do you feel like this game is going to stack up? Do you think that this is going to be able to keep pace with those, or you know, or will it be just in general? Do you think it will keep pace? And beyond that, quality wise, are you hopeful that this can kind of be, can kind of elevate Call of Duty to where it can be competitive, quality wise, with those other two games?
Well, what I'll say is I personally don't think it's going to be like some major blockbuster of a game.
Mm.
Um, lar- partially due to the fact that obviously all these franchises are getting big, big releases this year. But the thing is, Call of Duty doesn't really need to be that blockbuster franchise year in and year out. They are basically one of the only remaining game franchises to keep pretty much an annual release schedule while not just outright copying the previous game and selling it as a new game. Looking at UEA. But it's I don't think it's going to be at least as successful in terms of sales as maybe Black Ops Cold War or Modern Warfare 2019 have been. Obviously, that's a decent bar to get over, but I think that at the very least, it's not going to be anything that's like, sinking the franchise, which is really all you need.
Yeah.
It's just going to be another entry of COD. Like, it's going to have its ups, it's going to have its downs. As long as it isn't completely annihilated by bugs and cheaters and complete and utter weapon imbalance, it should be fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. And honestly, my take on it is just like you said, Call of Duty is already such a juggernaut that it doesn't need to do mega blockbuster numbers every year to still be hugely profitable. And so I would agree with you that I still think for me, and let me know if you guys disagree with this. I think for me, this is still very much Battlefield 2042's race to lose. I think that Call of Duty will be playing catch up this year, but it is not going to get annihilated like Infinity War, or was that what it was called?
Warfare.
Infinite Warfare. Thank you. Infinite Warfare was against Battlefield 1. I think that this is going to certainly not do any worse than any of the recent Call of Duty titles. I think it will keep the pace with the Call of Duty standard, and I think that I think this is one of the strongest head-to-head Call of Duty Battlefield matchups we've seen. Whereas the last two times you had a very strong Battlefield year and a very weak Call of Duty year, and then a very weak Battlefield year and a okay Call of Duty year. I think this is a case where you're going to have obviously neither game is out, so we don't know. But I think that Battlefield is looking really good. So if this proves to be a great Battlefield, I think this is going to be a pretty great Call of Duty too. And so it's going to be a fair head-to-head matchup. So I think quality-wise, this will keep pace. But sales-wise, this is still Battlefield's race to lose.
Greg, can you do me a favor and look up the like to dislike ratio of the first Battlefield 2042 trailer? Because I think that might be our tell.
Can do. Let's see. Official reveal trailer. I can tell you right now, it's not going to be it's going to be better than Call of Duty's. Yeah. So, Vanguard had a 92,000 likes to 8,000 dislikes. Ratio. Battlefield 2042 has a total of 28,000 dislikes and 1.1 million likes.
Yeah, I think Battlefield is gonna blow COD out of the water. I
mean,
agree. I don't think
Battlefield
COD
only
is
comes
gonna
out with an
flop.
entry once every 3 years.
Yeah, that is
Battlefield
true.
comes out with an entry once every 3 years. People have actually been anticipating this Battlefield. What the COD community has effectively reacted to Vanguard is, oh, Vanguard's coming out. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll buy it just like just like Call of Duty fans. They come back every year, so or almost every year, almost every year. But yeah, no, I do think that this is still Battlefield's race to lose. But I think that Call of Duty, they could have fallen on their face with this one, like they did with the rollout of Infinite Warfare. But they didn't. This was a strong reveal trailer. I am really intrigued by it. And again, like I said, I did not expect to be able to say that I think that Call of Duty is going to really be competitive against Battlefield this year after the trailer. But after watching it, I think it is. I think that this looks like a strong Battlefield entry. I know it's just cinematic. We need to see some gameplay. But in terms of just a cinematic reveal, this did its job and did it really well. In fact, I will even, live on air here, I will add my voice to the chorus because I liked it.
You're on IGN's channel.
Well, I'll despite how loath I am to support IGN, I liked it.
Your support is a lie.
I'll go back and look for the official Call of Duty later, but I did like this trailer. I think it did a good job. And yeah, I think that even though it's not at all original for Call of Duty, I think World War II is a good setting. I think it's a setting they do well.
It's a safe setting.
It's safe. It's very safe.
Which is a little disappointing that they're already going back to it, considering I thought they did really well with Cold War. I thought that was a really cool setting to explore. But, it's safe. It's classic. They can't go wrong with World War II.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, they definitely can go wrong, but in this one, I don't think they will.
It's harder for them to go wrong.
Yeah. I remember the last time they did World War II with Call of Duty World War II. I have that indelible image of the loot boxes dropping from the sky onto the beaches of Normandy, and how that just became a meme. As long as we don't get that, I'd call that a victory in itself. But yeah, good trailer. I am excited for Call of Duty 2021, and I didn't think I'd be able to say that. So, well done, Activision. Which I'm not always the first to say that. Activision, they're not EA, but they're hardly they're hardly altruistic either. But I think they've done a good job here. So, yeah. Do you guys have anything else that you wanted to say about this?
I'm just looking forward to the gameplay trailer.
Yeah, definitely.
That's where we'll really see kind of how this will stack up to the other upcoming games this year.
Absolutely. So, yeah, well done. We will be keeping an eye on this. Admittedly, not on November 5th because we have prior plans, but on November 6th we will check in with Call of Duty. But yes, well, with that, I think that is a review. So, Greg, I want to thank you so much again for joining us. It was great to have you here. As always, I want to thank all of you out there for watching and joining us today. Thanks for liking, commenting, and of course subscribing. It's your support that makes this show possible. From all of us here, thanks for watching, and we will speak to you again next time.
Good night, everybody.